So one of the things we've noticed with TeleAAC, if we are using QuickTime to connect our device to the computer with a cord, or if we are even using Zoom or any other platform where you can AirPlay your screen, what we're noticing is that students or parents or communication partners are having a hard time to discern where we're pointing, right? Because we're clicking, it doesn't give as much feedback other than the button moves slightly. So one of the ways we've done that is if you have an extra device, you can do a camera shot and get your finger accessing it. But another workaround is adjusting the access method on the device. This works better in Proloquo to Go than the feedback you'll get in Touch Chat or Lamp Words for Life, but let's take a look at it. So if you go to your settings on your iPad and you're going to look for access method, and so if you change your access method to select on release, you can then configure it to have a different colored visual cue. You can change the color of the cue and you can change the thickness. This currently is on very thick. You can adjust how long you need to hold your finger down to make selections. What's nice with this is that it actually slows us down, which is our goal with modeling. We're not supposed to show off how fast we can navigate, but we want to be able to make sure that they're visually seeing it. So now the difference is if I hold my finger, it's going to give that red highlight of where I'm going and what I'm looking at. It's not going to select it until we let go of it. One downfall is if you have grammar selection on, there's a very close difference between holding and selecting if you're holding it too long. But you can see it gives a little bit more visual feedback on that for that communication partner to see where you're navigating. And it doesn't affect the access too much. So that's the trick. Go to your settings, go to access method and turn it on to select on release if able. And that way you can then set up that visual cueing and give that extra kind of feedback to that individual on the other end who's seeing your screen for you. Now let's take a look into Lamp Words for Life real quick. Just so you can see, it does change it slightly. It gives it a little bit longer grade period. We can go into our menu, into settings, scroll down for access. And so this was still turned on from before, but so for buttons, activate on release. And then you're going to hit done. And so you can see you have a little bit more of that grade feedback. Because you're able to kind of hold that button down more.
Achieve.
Now let's go back and turn it off so you can see what it's like. Settings, scroll down to buttons. Access on release is turned off. You can see that there is some of that gray. There's not that much of a difference in that feedback. But definitely in Proloquo to Go, you can see it a little bit better. The other adjustment I guess you could make if you wanted to slow your rate down and slow that feedback is under settings and scroll down to button. You could put a delay, so a dwell time, so that you have to kind of hold that button down. I put 0.4 seconds. So then you're able to kind of give that feedback a little bit longer. What happens when you don't have that delay is when you go to touch it, it's going to navigate over a lot quicker. So playing around with those settings can allow you to kind of slow your speed as well as give more of that grade feedback. Let's take a look at Touch Chat real quickly. I'm going to go into Touch Chat HD. I'm not going to import. We can go to Word Power and take a look. All right, so once we are in Word Power here, again with that direct selection, it's really hard you get that feedback, but it's very limited with that gray. So if we go into our menu, settings, this is going to look very similar to Lamp Words for Life. We're going to go down to button. So if we go down to button and do activate on release, we have highlight touch on. and we can adjust that dwell time again. So there's a little bit of that delay. So now that feedback, you can get that gray a little bit longer. So you could do I, help eat, and you can get some like that. But again, Perla Coach Go does the better kind of visual feedback for selection on release. But wanted to share that with you guys. Thanks.